Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Moon podcast. It's Kelsey. I am coming back from a 2-year hiatus from the podcast, and I'm really excited to dive back in to speak with you, to connect with you, to channel, to have conversations. And this episode today is going to be about your personal energy year, something really interesting through the lens of astrology that I feel very lit up by right now. And the name switch of the podcast to Magnetic Moon has something to do with this, actually. And I'll also give you some personal updates of where I've been and what's going on in my life. I'm, you know, maybe you know this, I'm a Scorpio, so I don't share a ton of personal stuff, but I also know that there's medicine in sharing your story. But just my nature keeps a lot of things private. But nonetheless, quick little update, and then I want to talk about your energy. And the past 2 years, well, honestly, I became a mother. And, they say well, they say, whoever says, I've heard the quote before that you lose yourself in motherhood. And Uh, to some degree, I agree. And also, I think what's actually happening is that you're finding this new version of yourself, right? Like, I always knew I was meant to be a mother. And so meeting this version of myself is interesting. And I'm like, what stays, what goes? And I'm trying to just trust that flow, right? But I can say for sure that time and space took a totally different shape. And me showing up in a creative way, in a purposeful way, in a service-based way, and yeah, just being able to work, honestly. And work for me is, I love work. I love working. I always have. But that just felt so out of reach, so far out of reach. And here we are two years later. And around 1 year, when my little guy turned 1, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing something. Like I felt like maybe I had a little bit of space when he was having, I think it was like 2 naps, and they were a little bit longer. I'm like, maybe I could do something in these nap hours that felt interesting and allowed me to have adult conversations. And so I picked up work with my business coach, actually, helping him with some things. And that felt really good. And then, around that 16-month mark, I was like wanting to do more of my own projects. So sort of dabbling back into the social media marketing space and offering astrology readings here and there, but not too much. Really, I feel like this year I thought it was going to be just jump right back in, but I realized it was just like a test year. And clarity came through around my birthday that, yeah, the podcast can't wait any longer. Like, you got to get back in there. And this is a way that I find is a lot more easy for me to share and connect and find my people is through conversation. And while I love posting on social media in some ways, but I feel like I can't get the full message out, in one post. So here we are, back to the pod, so I can ramble and offer wonderful insight and value to you. And yeah, I mean, nonetheless, these 2 years have been amazing. I'm home with my little guy. I'm still home with my little guy. I'm still, trying to figure out when and how I can fit my work into our days. This is my third or fourth attempt of recording my first podcast episode. So, fingers crossed we get this one out there. But yeah, mamahood. Um, my pregnancy was really easy. My birth was not in any way, shape, or form. Uh, he came in interesting. And then postpartum was not a good time at all. So, anyway, that's like a whole other story. I was going to make the first episode like my birth and postpartum story, but man, that's a long one. So we're here and I'm happy to be here. Uh, Really, truly, when people say like, what's been going on? I'm like, honestly, like I'm a mom, and that's really what's going on. We go to a lot of play groups. We do lovely crafts at home in the summertime. We are outside all the time. We go to the library, we go swimming, we see family. I've definitely realized how amazing it is to have our family here. I'm back in my hometown. I've been here for like since 2020, but it's really helpful. Oh my goodness. So big hugs out there to the mamas doing it solo or, doing it without family or support around. That makes it very challenging, I can imagine. So yeah, I want to have motherhood conversations on here as well. But anyway, that's my personal update. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to have the conversations and insightful messages on here for you to listen to. So thank you for being here. Now, let's talk about your personal energy year. So this is what I'm really lit up about right now and feels good to share as the first episode. And when I say your personal energy year, I'm not talking about 2026. I'm actually talking about the birth year that you're in. So if you just turned 29 or 44 or whatever, like, doesn't matter if your birthday was in January or July or November, whatever year you're in, this is the year I want to speak to. And if it changes in January, your message will change, but I'm going to give you the details and how to find the details of what I'm talking about in this episode. So, what I'm speaking to, and I actually get a lot of people come to me and they need something. They need clarity or insight on what's going on. What's going on in my life? What direction am I supposed to head? And I can pull 1,000 different things that I can see from your chart. I usually talk about, the major aspects and the major planets and their movements, but another layer that I sometimes bring in, but it maybe because I'm feeling lit up about it right now, I might bring it in even more. But it's what's called your Time Lord. And your Time Lord is like your ruler of the year, your planetary ruler of the year. It's also called annual perfection, or the annual perfection is one way of calculating your Time Lord. And astrology always has layers, and there are layers to this. So it's like, yes, you have one Time Lord of the year, but sometimes there's actually other things that we can look at too, but I'll try to just keep it as simple as I can. So how you find this is either one, you can calculate it yourself, or two, you can use the website that I use, which I can link in this episode, and it will calculate it for you. So the website, you can go onto it, and again, I'm going to link this here. You can go onto it and calculate your birth chart, and your birth chart will come up, and then on the right-hand side of your page, there's something that you will see annual perfections. And you'll click that link and it's going to show you your chart and a highlighted area of your chart. So your chart everybody's chart includes all 12 signs, and everybody has 12 houses. The houses are areas of your life. And then all the little symbols on there are the planets and where they were at the time of your birth. So it's going to show you a highlighted area of your chart, and this is the big theme for you in this year of your life. And it will include a planet and it will include a house, so an activated house. And every house has a energy or a theme to it. And you may have heard me speak about this in my webinars or past podcast episodes, but essentially it's like the first house rules the self, and the second house is your values and your money, and third house can be communication, information, ideas, fourth house, home, family, body, etc., etc. So every house has a different theme for your life. So your Time Lord is going to be the planet that's calling all the shots of the year. And it's kind of like the main planet that you really want to pay attention to, and your energy may fluctuate depending on what that planet is doing. What that planet is doing as it goes around your chart, what that planet is doing when it maybe highlights, like it might be activating another planet in your chart. So it's kind of like this is the big one that you want to pay attention to. So I want to go into what those planets could be and what they mean. So for example, I just have my notes here. So for example, if the sun is your time lord, you want to pay attention to what the sun is doing. So the sun changes sign every month-ish, right? Like 20 or like every 4 weeks or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It changes signs, right? So it'll go from like Jupiter or Jupiter. It's the end of the day, bear with me. It'll go from Cancer to Leo and then to Virgo, etc. So you may notice that, every time it changes sign, maybe your energy significantly changes. And to be honest, all of us are affected by the sun changing sign. We all have those signs in our own chart. So that can affect you and sh show different themes in your life. But for you, it's even more so. The other thing that you may notice when the sun is your time lord is that you may have themes around identity or your soul or being recognized or shining bright. And you may actually even feel like you have more energy and motivation to do things, but it's all around your expression and being seen. And so, like, literally, it's your time to shine. Like, if the sun is your time lord, like, you better be shining. And if you're not, well, we're just highlighting any themes that you may have around insecurity or not being seen. But it's a very magnetic and radiant energy. It's super exciting. So if you're in a sun year, congrats. I think it's cool. But, all of our charts are totally different. So, but it is going to feel sort of bright and expansive. And then because it's the sun, it's brightening, it every time it passes through other areas of your chart, like everything might have a little bit more oomph to it. So even if it's like kind of hitting a sore spot on your chart, so to speak, you might feel that, right? So something to consider, right? The sun being your time lord. It's really cool if you're a creative or an entrepreneur, you have a business, like it's a good year to be strengthening your personal brand too, right? Like you're strengthening yourself and your identity, and your business could also benefit from that. I like speaking to the business entrepreneur side because I am one myself, and I find business and commerce and the marketing world very interesting. So I'm going to bring that in here as well. But I would recommend posting more of you, of your face, if that's something you are interested in, or just finding ways to be seen more. Like maybe you literally just like take your hat off or your sunglasses off. And so people can really look at you in the eyes because the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? These are just things that are coming to mind. So that's the sun time lord. The next one I want to speak about is the moon. And this is the year that I'm in and my business actually, which I find interesting. And thus the magnetic moon podcast. I was inspired to really work with the moon. And I'm like, let's just put it in the title. So when the moon is your time lord, there's an extra layer of sensitivity, feeling, intuition. And you can think of the moon like that's the self. It's your inner world. You want to focus on nourishing yourself, nourishing others, nurturing yourself. Themes around the mother, themes around safety and security. And you may also notice that your energy fluctuates with the moon cycles. And it could be a good time to plan things on say a new moon or a full moon or whatever. What like whatever works for you, but maybe you just want to consider like what phase the moon is in or where it's in your chart when making plans or making launches or whatever it is. You may feel the new and full moons that much more. Yay. Yeah, moon people were like, woo. Um, and yeah, it's all about flow, really like literally going with the flow. It's a good time to connect with people and really, I mean, you don't have to have your heart on your sleeve, but you may feel inspired to like have that connection. And you can use this for looking ahead, and then you can also use it in hindsight. Like you don't have to listen to what I'm saying, but maybe when you look back, you're like, yeah, that was a moon year. So some weeks may be busier than others. There's going to be like a go and a rest. So yeah, just pay attention to how you're feeling and the sensitivities there. And the next planet I want to talk about is Mercury. So if you're in a Mercury year, it may be quicker energy, it may be busier, buzzier. Mercury rules communications, commerce, community. So there might be, yeah, more conversations happening, more people around, and it could be a good year to journal if you haven't already. Having a practice of journaling because that mental energy is really there for you. Like Mercury is really activating in like information processing. And sometimes journaling is a great place to that. Or you just need to speak, but definitely like just kind of channeling that energy. Obviously, retrogrades, you might feel more when people are like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. You're like, you're telling me. So that could be a possibility with Mercury as your Time Lord. But yeah, just a quicker, buzzier energy. As I mentioned, your nervous system, I'd be paying attention to your nervous system. And in case there's, information overload happening, but ideas could keep flowing. And if you have ideas, like just write them down. I felt like this year, so I just came out of a Mercury year. I had a lot of note taking going on and a lot of ideas coming through, but not necessarily a lot of implementation on all those ideas. Like, as I mentioned, wow, motherhood, hello, busy. But even if you just write it down and sort of get organized that way. In the business world, I mean, Mercury is a big player. So obviously like writing content or starting the blog or writing the book or the podcast or whatever it is. Could be a good year for taking courses and learning things, literally reading books, whatever feels good to you. But your words are going to create momentum in your life and possibly opportunities. So when Venus is your time lord, we're thinking about Venus themes. So yes, it is love, it is money, it is beauty, it is pleasure, it is relationships. These themes might come up for you. And I would certainly be focusing on like feeling good, seeking pleasure in whatever you're doing. Like if it doesn't totally feel good, maybe just reconsider or pivot. So it's really about feeling that, I mean, like, Venusian feminine, like feeling good about what it is that you are showing up for, creating, being a part of, conversing with. So think of pleasure as your North Star. And it could be a good year for just like simple things, creating a stable, simple, cozy life for yourself, whatever that looks like. And if you're like, my year, I have plans, it's not looking like that. Well, where can you simplify? It might be worth considering. And you want to think about what signs all of these planets, honestly, but you want to think about what signs Venus will be moving through this year and when, and what areas of your chart are those signs ruling? What houses are they ruling? And so maybe when you're making plans, consider that. Consider where Venus is in relationship to your chart. In the business world, you might want to look at your prices, raise your prices, have some more collaborations. It could be a rebrand year, um, or it could be a good year to improve your client relationships or their experience. But certainly considering ease and not forcing anything. And then if Mars is your time lord, what does Mars rule? Mars is action, drive, motivation, quick energy, movement, courage, and it's quick and it's edgy. It can be productive. So it could be a busy, quick, productive year for you. You may have uh honestly extra anger this year or extra feist or fire. You may have more physical energy. And it could be a year of impulsivity, but there is a fire lit. It's a good year to focus on you or focus on doing things your way or focus on uh, paving your own path. And that may ruffle feathers, which is where that sort of anger or edginess may come up when you're like doing you. But it's just, we all got to do our own thing sometimes. But it's a year of bold action, personally and professionally. It could be a good year to really move your body and make decisions and just go for it. It could be a year of passion and fire and motivation. It's about leading with confidence. And so if you're in a Mars year, look out. Look out for those Mars people. I just have a couple more planets to speak about here. If Jupiter is your time lord, this is a year of growth and expansion. It's a year of tapping into your wisdom. It could be a very spiritually focused year. And it could be a year for learning. Like mm, the thing that Jupiter rules is quote unquote higher learning. So it could be like it also can rule like religion and spirituality, but nonetheless like courses or um it could even be a university program, like not just like a quick learn, like a big learn, learning something big. It can be an abundant year. And with Jupiter and its expansive qualities, sometimes it expands things that we don't want to be expanded. So that's something to consider. But there's opportunity and something to pay attention to could be mm, having too high of expectations or feeling a little bit scattered or overwhelmed by all the goings on. But it's a year of dreaming big. So optimism, I love Jupiter energy. I love Jupiter energy. Optimism, just think big picture, daydream, actually build the dream. Just yeah. Jupiter, I mean that's a fun one, I think. But you definitely want to consider what aspects Jupiter's going to be making in your chart and where it is right now. Like if Jupiter is your ruler, but Jupiter happens to be in your, say, 12th house where your Saturn is. That might be an interesting one, Jupiter being your ruler of the year, and then it's conjunct your Saturn, which is lessons and growth and challenges. And then your 12th house also rules things like subconscious your subconscious mind or your fears. But on a positive frame of that, 12th house also rules um, your connection to the divine. And with Jupiter there, that might really expand your spiritual connection. And Saturn is about discipline. So maybe you build a spiritual practice and you really benefit from it. So there's always two sides. Well, there's like 100 sides to all these placements, but that's just an example. But it's if you want to dive deeper, if you're like, okay, I know my planetary ruler and I get the gist, but I want to go deeper, then that's when you would um, connect with an astrologer and sort of break it down further. But for today's episode, we're gonna try to keep things simple. So in terms of you know, business or creative projects, you may see more opportunities come up, or maybe you're really building out your future and putting the right systems in place and yeah, just seeing the bigger picture and how it's all going to come together. Maybe you expand your reach, and it could be that you are, because Jupiter is about this higher learning, but it also can be the teacher in some ways. So maybe you're the teacher. So there's many ways that this can go, but all of these are fun in their own way, these planetary rulers. So the last one is Saturn, and I kind of just mentioned Saturn. And Saturn as a Time Lord, like I said, it rules lessons and growth and time and discipline and commitment and boundaries. So these themes may come up for you. In terms of like what your year looks like it's more of a slow, steady pace. Saturn is about building and structure, so your year may feel a little bit slower. Um, you might feel more pressure, or maybe there's more obstacles or responsibilities on your plate. But the cool thing about Saturn is you grow and you build resilience through these experiences. So you really are left with a gift. And that's something to consider. So it's not like a fear thing. You know, I've talked about Saturn returns on here, and your Saturn return is like a 2 or 3 year transit of Saturn being your, you know, your teacher. It's a big one. You have Saturn coming back around to where it was when you were born, right? And so that theme of Saturn is definitely highlighted. And this is kind of a similar thing, but it's like for the year. And yeah, it's about goal setting and maturity and really getting organized, having the right systems in place for life to feel more easeful in the next year. And I think goes without saying, but in the realm of business, like, yeah, this is about systems, having your foundations right, really building your trust and authority with your clients and audience, focus on structure, focus on mastery, that sort of thing. And so that is sort of the gist of your Time Lords. If you want to take it a layer deeper, there is something where you can look to the sign activated in this annual perfections chart, right? Um it'll show up once you click that link, like I said. And that sign that sign in your chart may have planets in it. So, for example, my ruler of the year is the moon, and the house that is activated, or the sign that is activated, is Cancer. The house that is activated is the 10th house. Well, I happen to have Mars in the 10th house in Cancer. So that planet can be considered a sort of co-ruler if you want to take it a layer deeper. But I think we will keep it here. I hope that's helpful for you. I'm really looking forward to connecting more and sharing more. And if you have any ideas or if you want to be on the podcast, have a conversation, I'm definitely open to it. I have a whole list of things to speak to you about, and I'm just honored to be back here with you. So thank you. And don't hesitate to reach out on Instagram if you have questions. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.